Now Patchouli is another specialized character. She has a lot of good attacks that deal a lot of spirit damage and don't take a lot of spirit. So because of that, she doesn't actually have a very strong stagger game. In fact, she only has one move that staggers, and it's a unique move because it's the only overhead bullet in the game. So, Guard Crush. Guard Crush again. You're never going to see that in a real match, by the way. Let's set the dummy to Crouch Guard, do the crystals, which come from above, and stagger. You really can't do too much with that move because remember, staggered is not a clean hit. They can choose to block. So while you think you can do an unblockable by doing that, or if they block high, you go low, it's really not that good. So let's watch that in action. Low Guard Crush, set the dummy to block low, do the crystals high, low, low, low. See, they're not even knocked down. So, I mean, it's really not that great, and when you get in that range, you're really within too close range of most characters. Patchouli's range is right around here, and once you get around here, you start having problems. So you want to be right here or so. And the problem is, 2A doesn't reach over there. And you can't rapid fire it, really, out of range. So, basically, Patchouli's stagger game, not very strong, but she has a lot of other strengths to make up for it. So now we have Yomu, who's the more melee character in this game. She has uppercut, rekkas, command grab. So you may think that Yomu has a strong stagger game, and that could lead to good fuzzy guard setups, which is sort of true. Because what you can do with Yomu, set the opponent to crouch block, stand block, low guard crush. Now there's stand blocking. Yomu's main stagger moves is going to be 2B, dashing 2A. That's for the lows, and for the highs, you have 6B. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, Yomu's stagger game not too strong since you really can't capitalize off that. You can't capitalize off that. You can't capitalize off this. So the only move you can really capitalize off of is going to be her 2B. Now her 2B does lead into some good setups. So for example, we set the dummy to crouch or stand block, do a 2B. Actually, I'm going to wait until it regenerates first. Guard Crush, 2B. Now, opponent is staggered. I'm going to set the dummy to stand block, or a crouch block. I keep getting that mixed up. Notice how, after I stagger with a 2B, opponent, let's say they're crouch blocking, and you can basically do whatever you want after that, as long as you hit with the elbow on the way up. So just go boom, boom, like that, when they're staggered. Now, you might think that's good because it's an instant overhead, and especially since Yomu's elbow is 6 frames, but the problem is, if they choose to stand block, this will stagger them all day, and there's really not much you can do to hit them, because most of Yomu's clean hits are high. So when they're stand blocking, the only thing that can really hit them is that, the low guard crush again. Which could lead into good damage, but you have to use a bomb to do it. So basically, if your opponent doesn't know how to fight Yomu and they're blocking low, then by all means, use her fuzzy guard. If they're blocking high, good luck having any success with that. And now we come across one of the more esoteric characters in this game, Romelia. Now, Romelia actually has both high and low staggers. For example, set the dummy to block low, do a high guard crush. Her 6B will stagger, and the second hit of her 6A will stagger. If you set the dummy to high block, her 5B will stagger. That, and she has really good walking speed. So you might think, oh, she's really good at staggering, right? Well, truth of the matter is, she could do it, but she doesn't particularly get any big damage off of that. And the reason she doesn't is because Romelia's rushdown game is already so strong because of her dashing overheads. For example, she can already do that. So when you have the choice between going for a stagger hit into another hit, especially since she doesn't have a particularly fast or low jump, if you're going to pick between her dash overhead or between that, what are you going to pick? Of course you're going to pick the dash overhead. So basically, Romelia's high-low game focuses around that, and once you get the opponent in corner pressure, you can basically do whatever you want with them without needing to stagger. So for her, it's sort of extraneous because of her overhead, but she can still do it on opponents that are stubborn. Mostly because if they're blocking the wrong way, you can use that to your advantage so that they can't bomb. For example, the opponent right now is blocking low, use a 6B to stagger, and then cancel into her block string. With Yoko, her staggers are actually not too great. Her primary stagger moves are going to be her 6A and her 5B. Both are high staggers. Her low A and her low B are both clean hits. So generally what you do with Yoko is you take a more one-sided approach with her. So, Guard Crush. Now the opponent is blocking low. So once they're blocking low and they're Guard Crushed, they want to find a way to get out of that corner pressure. So they're going to start looking for openings to bomb. What you do with that is you use her 6A to stagger them so that they cannot bomb. Notice how if I stagger with 6A, I have more time to throw out the butterflies. What you can also do is you can use the 6A to throw out moves that normally have way too much startup. For example, like that. If you stagger with that, that actually becomes a viable block string. But if they actually block it normally, notice how there's a gap there. And during that gap, they can raise attack out, they can Shoryuken, they can reversal, they can do whatever. Since Yuko's game is primarily around corner zoning and corner pressure by using her 5A attack, which has great range, you're not going to be using staggers with her as much, but with the opponent, they're not going to be sure whether to block high or low during a pressure, so make sure you take advantage of your clean hits when you get them. For example, opponent is now blocking low because they're scared of the clean hit. Now they know they're getting staggered, so now they switch to blocking high. And now you get your low hit 2B.